So I thought I'd make a quick video. There's a lot of news about the 80% developers being fired and made redundant. I see a lot of things, pro and against that kind of case. As someone that kind of builds a lot of products and has a lot of products, I'm definitely more internal focused than external focused. But the what I see is that I'm a big believer that it's going to make a lot of developers redundant using artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence coding. And I don't think it's how people kind of perceive it. They go into ChatGPT, they get it to write some code or Copilot, and they're getting it to fix its code. I think the not only will the AI able to generate code, it's the way we think about software development as well. So, through the years, we've kind of got your MVP style of application. Then we got um, our workflow or orchestration engine using microservices coming in. And now we have artificial intelligence. So when I'm thinking about coding now with artificial intelligence, I'm thinking about autonomy, about how you would structure your AI in terms of what kind of inputs, what strategy it's going to make, and how it's going to execute that strategy. So something that's kind of always learning, can gather information from third party, first party data, and continually improving itself to meet objectives. And I think the key word there is objectives. And um, a lot of CRMs and other systems like this, they've always kind of viewed data as you have static data and then you're interpreting it through code, where AI removes a lot of that because it's able to interpret, add insight, and customize based on something that wasn't customizable before. Um, so I think it's treating it a one for one, like how people develop today and how the AI works is it becomes a tool where if you look at AI as an autonomous microservice kind of engine, we change the paradigm and then we can start looking at things like tooling, um, how metadata can be used better. That's like information about information, how you can do dynamic screen generation, how it can self-repair, how it can generate unit tests. So it's not, it may not be trying to build a whole application as you would more like a, monolithical application. It's probably more going to be like, what services do I need and when, and what are my objectives? So I think it's very exciting. I think as a coder, it's coding is a part of my life, but I mean I've been doing it so long. I really feel like 90% of my job feels like bricklaying, in the sense that it's very repetitive, data in, data out, validation, saving, loading, but the logic itself is normally not too much logic. And even when I do logic, it's, a lot of it's very repetitive, looping, sorting, um, other kind of calling APIs, whatever. It's incredibly simple logic that can be done, and a lot of these features can be replicated very, very quickly with artificial intelligence. So, right now my approach, as I said, I try to think of it like autonomous structure, more flexible structure with the AI, how to give it access to tools, how to use the especially I use JSON heavily in terms of how to structure, strategy, and commands. So I'm getting the AI to do a lot more around strategy and commands than just things like content writing, which seems to be the go-to, and analysis as well. So having that mindset, and knowing that sometimes the AI falls down, you can trick it, but the thought is that over time it can build, it's going to get better. And if you need fixed structures, it can build things like BPMN. It can build a way of thinking that is very structured if need be, and then using other tools, diagraph tools and whatever to validate that that it can work, or even create simulations or whatever to ensure that the code's going to work in the future. And with that thought, like something that interests me a lot is the agent to agent communication. I think this MCP protocols is it's definitely an oversimplification right now. I think it's got a long way to go in terms of agents talking to agents and how that kind of signs off and how those themselves will have their own tool and knowledge to be able to make conclusions. So it's happening, but I think I can't say it's happening slowly, it's happening quickly, but there's still big gaps, and I think we're going to see those gaps merge. So, I think a lot of tools will be, you'll have your base tool with certain tooling, and then it's going to be able to call on to other agents, not plugins, not APIs, but agents calling agents and asking it to do research or asking it questions and finding information out. So it's going to add a lot of value in the way it goes. And this kind of interaction will change the way we think about code, how code's structured. But I do think it's going to change. It's going to be different skill sets. It's going to be um, I don't necessarily think it's going to be no code platforms as such, but I think you know it's going to be human driven, probably from some type of AI interface. And I mean, the thing is, we think about AI like coding from human perspective, and in the future, AI doesn't need to follow our human way of coding. Like we dumb down certain things, we simplify, we change more complex languages to simpler syntax so we understand. And but AI doesn't. Like it might be able to do way more complicated language. It might be able to do way more memory manipulation, and other kind of features which have been shut away from the development computer community from complexity points of view. So it's it's going in multiple directions, but inevitably the cost value return, I definitely see, as a company owner, I really need to think about people that can use the AI tools almost more important than the coders themselves. Being able to solve the code and not let it go down the rabbit hole is very important. But how we can capitalize on that. And I've already seen demos of AI building whole systems from end to end. And as I said, if it's done from a microservice point of view, a tooling point of view, then I mean, to be honest, it's already there. It's like the AI can generate any Python or whatever kind of code. It's able to deploy it as a microservice. It's able to write its unit test, so it can take existing platforms and extend it. Um, so I think that's really, we need to change the mindset from programmer to strategy, how to think about the technology we're building. I'm excited and I'm anxious all at the same time. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I think if there's going to be a revolution in the next things, I don't think it's going to be floods or hurricanes. It's going to be the crash in the IT world, given the salaries and the value that has been paid out. And um, maybe that's a good crash, maybe it's a bad crash, but it's going to, I think it's going to take a huge toll on a lot of people and the way people, you know, the people that were high value maybe become very low value quickly, and I include that in myself, and I just kind of keep trying to think about the future and how that's changing. So just thought I'd share my thoughts on the 80% firing in 2025.